These rarely seen photos of Roy Rogers reveal a secret side to the King of the Cowboys. Roy Rogers, known as the King of the Cowboys, is still to this day considered one of the biggest Western stars ever. He, together with his Palomino horse Trigger and co-star turned wife Dale Evans, remain one of the defining images of American cinema. But behind the scenes, Rogers' life was filled with complications and tragedy. Billy the Kid Returns, 1938. Born Leonard Sly, the man who would become the King of the Cowboys, made his first film appearance in 1935, and from there his star got bigger. In 1938, he participated in a singing cowboy competition and won, changing his name to Roy Rogers on advice of Republic Pictures. What followed was a long string of movies in that year alone, including Billy the Kid Returns. Days of Jesse James, 1939. As time went on, Rogers' star showed no sign of fading. You see, he did 9 movies in 1939, including Wall Street Cowboy, Saga of Death Valley, and Days of Jesse James. Unusually for the time, Rogers would almost always play himself, blurring the lines between fiction and reality. Sons of the Pioneers, 1940. Before he took the name Roy Rogers, Leonard Sly formed a band called the Pioneers Trio in 1933. Gradually, they grew in fame. A radio station changed their name to Sons of the Pioneers, and it stuck. By 1940, Rogers was the huge movie star we know today, and the Sons would appear as his backup group. Promo Shot, 1940. In 1940, the now world-famous Rogers rearranged his contract to gain rights over his own likeness and name. By that point, his name was known all over America. It meant a child or adult cowboy fan could easily go out and buy Roy Rogers comics, novels, toys, virtually any merchandise available. Robin Hood of the Pecos, 1941. Now, Roy Rogers was a prolific actor indeed. You see, he did 8 films in 1941, one of them being Robin Hood of the Pecos. In that flick, he plays an ex-Confederate soldier who defends a small Texas town from tax collectors. As with a lot of films of the era, it's not considered to hold up very well in the modern day and age. Sunset on the Desert, 1942. In 1942, Rogers did the movie Sunset on the Desert alongside Lynn Carver. This one was a comedic mistaken identity film in which Rogers' character is accidentally taken for a baddie. It was one of Lynn Carver's last credited films, as the outbreak of World War II considerably slowed down the acting work she got. With Arlene, 1944. Come 1936, a pre-mega fame Rogers married a woman named Arlene Wilkins. It was her who convinced him to audition for singing cowboy roles. Then in 1941, they adopted a girl, Cheryl, and 2 years later conceived baby Linda Lou. Furthermore, in 1946 came another biological child, but giving birth took Arlene's life this time. Rogers was devastated. Cowboy and the Señorita, 1944. After Arlene's death in 1946, Rogers threw himself into his movies. Now he'd already starred with actress Dale Evans in 18 Western flicks. In fact, their first had been 1944's Cowboy and the Señorita, but she'd gotten fed up with the genre and wanted out. However, Rogers convinced her otherwise, and she stuck around to make new films with him. Along the Navajo Trail, 1945. The audiences of the post-World War II era absolutely loved the team-up of Rogers and Evans, and one of their highlights includes 1945's Along the Navajo Trail with Estelita Rodriguez. Eventually, as their professional relationship deepened, so did their personal one. They embarked on a romance. Riding Trigger the Horse, 1945. Now, Rogers' most beloved co-star wasn't a human being, but his Palomino horse Trigger, and he'd purchased him in 1932, renaming him from his original moniker, Golden Cloud. The two of them were inseparable, and the younger audience were big fans of Trigger too. Rogers would even sign off on advertisements with Roy Rogers and Trigger. The world is filled with stories going viral every single day. But how many of these sites can you actually follow? We understand that your day should start with positive stories, stories that resonate with you. And so we started JoJo Stories. Our mission is to create meaningful stories that cover everything from animals to anthropology, history to environment and lifestyle. The kind of content you read on our site will be one you'll want to share with your family and friends. We hope you'll join our growing family and be part of our community. Welcome to JoJo Stories. JoJoStories.com.